What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the PlayGround podcast. This is season 2, episode 1. This is your host, Henry Rodriguez, and I'm with our second guest. And he is someone who actually inspires me a lot on the daily, and he continues to strive for greatness himself. He is a upcoming business owner. He is self-made, I would say, if I could, and he's a barber who's got some phenomenal skills. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce him. His name is Chris Cash. He owns Cash Fades and will be opening up this next coming year. Um, so tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of where you grew up, how you came to be, and why you're pursuing what you're pursuing today.
Um, I was born in East LA. No, I'm just kidding. I was born in California. I grew up in the LA area. Moved a lot. So I think that did something to me.
Right,
But single mom,
right.
couple sisters.
Now you're the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Okay,
Well, of my immediate family.
right.
I have 5 sisters total, but in my household, I was the oldest
Mhm.
with 3 sisters. Pretty normal upbringing.
Right,
You know, uh, nothing too crazy.
yeah.
Um,
Just it was more, I guess. So give us background about maybe education. Did you enjoy going to school? Did you like
oh, definitely.
learning?
You know, I grew up in the hood or whatever,
Right.
and I was actually pretty good in school.
Uh-huh.
So from an early age, um, I got like praises for doing good in school.
Mhm.
So like that told me like that I was special.
Right.
Like not to sound like a douchebag,
No, in your own unique way.
in my own world.
Right.
Yeah, I knew my father was educated to a certain extent. Um, I didn't see him often, but when I did, he would pump me up. He would hype me up and tell me I was the Prince of Egypt. And
Right.
so,
Do you think that helped you throughout your
oh,
life?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. It sucked that he wasn't there,
Hmm.
but the few times he was, I like grasped and like
Right.
soaked up everything
What do you
he
have to
told
say?
me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's big too when people are growing up. I think whether it's positive or negative, what they're being told throughout their life, I think that has a huge outcome actually on how they live the rest of their life. Whether they're told they can do something or told that they're a piece of crap. I think that goes a long way throughout their entire life, not just I think those younger years, but even to this day. My parents always told me, you can do good things, you can do great things, just pursue stuff. And most of the time, like I was telling you, education is big in my family, right?
Right.
And for me, that's not number one. I love learning and I understand the
Right.
whole concept behind it, but it's not everything for me. I think it's one thing that makes a person understand, I guess, the world and create a culture,
Right.
and being better off in society. But also, I think that hard work is one of the number one roles in our lives, and I think hard work overall can almost top education in an extent.
No,
Um,
I know where you're coming from. I think a lot of people, when they think of education, they think the institution,
right,
they think the building. So there's handful of, billionaires that, they didn't go to school.
right, or dropped out
Right.
in a sense too.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge, though. Like you were talking about how your dad was, telling you throughout your life, you can do,
still.
right. And I think that's incredible. And how does he feel right now about, I guess, boxing? Because you are taking on boxing, trying to go amateur. Should I go ahead and throw that out there, or is that something
That's a goal. That's a
that's a
goal.
goal?
Yeah.
Good. Long term or short term? How long do you think that would take you?
I don't know, because
Right.
a few months ago, I couldn't tell you I was going to walk into a boxing gym. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, it's not fair. He's not here.
Right.
So I'm answering for him. But
Yeah.
the one thing I do love about him um, is that he never tells me I can't do something. So
That's powerful.
yeah,
That's really powerful.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has different skills. People can give you money. People can give you encouragement.
Mhm.
People can give you a roof over your head, you know. Um,
Right.
but like I said, him encouraging me, whether I know it or not, does something to me, even as a grown man.
Right.
So how he told me you can't do it, or
Do you think you'd still be at the same place? I think it can go one or two ways.
I was like 21, and uh, at 21, you feel like you're pretty,
On the world, on top
yeah,
of the world,
right.
right?
And I said, hey, pops, um, I was thinking about getting my mom's name tattooed on me.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Something, this guy used to party hard. Like, he's like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want. And he actually told me, don't do it.
Huh.
So I didn't do it.
Right. So
So
it's
like
just
I
that
said,
small, the small words or the words he was telling you played a big role even throughout your life, not just at, say, your childhood, but even into your teens and your young adult life.
I mean, I'm not slitting my wrist, or saying woe is me because I didn't play catch with my dad.
Right.
But I can't help deny the power of that relationship,
Uh-huh.
because everybody needs uh, a family. Everybody
Right.
needs a mom and dad.
Because I think they kind of not necessarily counteract each other, but I think that the mother obviously brings certain qualities that the father could not saying he could never, but the mother will bring a solid quality that the father couldn't bring, vice versa. And
Right,
I think that's a very important thing for a child when they grow up, just because
right,
of the influence of different people. And also with friends. Friends play a huge role in people's lives, being social. Again, I'm not so sure about the psychology of younger years, but
right,
from what I've gathered now is it's everything's very important,
right,
especially those younger years.
right,
So even for me, when Nicole and I have kids down the road, I'm gonna I want to be always there, and I want to always be engaging in their lives and trying to not necessarily push them like, hey, you have to do sports, because that was one thing. I'm very grateful for sports. I'm very grateful for um, getting the chance to become a part of a team or whatnot, even though my baseball team lost every single game we played. But it's like the social interaction is amazing, but I don't think a child, if my kid doesn't want to draw, I'm not going to force him to draw,
right,
Like there's certain things that I want my kid to be creative in their own way. Because for me, it's the same thing. Like I was telling you, education was huge.
right,
But now looking back on it, like video games, where I love playing video games. I love drawing. I loved hanging out with friends, and not saying my parents did anything wrong, because I love them to death. They got me to where I'm at today. I'm so very grateful. But just imagine if in your life you were able to do everything you wanted to at a younger age. Like we weren't really, me and my brother weren't able to play video games throughout the week. It was like after Friday after school and Saturday, and then short time on Sunday, we were able to play video games. But now I look back on it, I'm like, I do appreciate that, because we got work done, we got certain things done that we never would have.
right,
But now that I look at all these Twitch streamers and all these video game
right,
celebrities who are making seven figures, not that money's the motive,
right,
but it sure does help. And it's like, just imagine if you would have gotten that good a long time ago,
right,
and where we would be at today. And
right,
I get it, it's just our society advancing, technology advancing, but in a way it's like, why couldn't I pursue the thing that mattered most to me? And I know there was a lot of influence in my life at that time.
right.
So what are some things that maybe you did at a younger age that, not necessarily saying you weren't allowed to do it, but what do you think you wish you would have taken on?
I mentioned earlier we moved a lot, right?
Right.
So um, we get stable for a little bit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had to get up
There we
and
go.
start all over. So um, I love sports.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys won last night. Um, so I mean, growing up where I grew up, kids played on the street. Maybe it was the weather was more conducive I notice out here in Arizona it's pretty hot, so
Right.
you don't see kids playing in the
Playing
street
outside.
like we did, or maybe it's just a
And
generation thing.
you know what? Just oh man, that's I want to hit that one on the head for sure. I think that not I think I know nowadays obviously kids or young adults are so into social media believing that that's completely real life, and sometimes I fall short of not understanding the difference between likes, followers, and real life. That real life engagement to me is more valuable, the value I can bring to people rather than just for my own self-interest and being or trying to be like I'm the only one on this earth, right? And I think that's the problem that we have nowadays where kids feel so entitled to almost everything, and I get it. There's some kids who are living off social media at a very young age. Shout out to them. And if you can do it, why not, right? But I think we're falling short of that now as years go on. And obviously I'm in the millennial generation. So there's some traits that obviously, unfortunately I have, and fortunately I have. But it's like back when I grew up, it was the same thing. We'd be outside playing, like that would be the one thing like that my brother and I for sure did after homework or whatnot. We would love to go outside and play. That was like an every single day thing. And then once it started getting dark, obviously we would go inside. But that was my childhood too.
It's important. I
It's
mean,
very important.
you have recess in school for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's necessary.
Right.
Um,
And I never really understood that until
you got older.
I got older. And honestly, like probably like not even 6 months ago is when I started understanding the fundamentals of education and recess and all these other activities that kids are put in, sports. And I think a lot of it too has to do with like the parents. Because I think sometimes if you say the parent was playing football throughout their high school career, you know what I mean? Maybe played some college ball, wanted that NFL pick, but never got it. They're going to force, not, well, it could go again one or two ways. They could force that upon their kid to enjoy sports. And then that's what, their childhood or their, their childhood and their young adult lives are just going to be pursuing that one thing to make someone else happy. So I feel like that can play a big role in people's lives as well.
Yeah, well, just real quick, touching recess. We as adults still need recess. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you need? What, 30 minutes?
Yeah, just to not in, like a
At
lunch
least,
almost or a break or something,
right?
right? To get out from the real world or whatnot. But again, it's like yeah, we kind of balance things.
I think uh, everybody wants something. Everybody has dreams and goals. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are too afraid to go after them, or maybe they feel like they don't have it anymore. So if they see somebody else um, that hasn't made the same mistake, they
Yeah.
want to like.
Put them down, right? Is that what
Well,
you're?
that's one thing, but they want to. I don't want to say they want to live through that person, but they kind of do at the same time. Not take well. I don't know. I don't want
No, no,
to. Like without them knowing it.
right?
Like you see a kid with potential.
Yeah,
You see a young bodybuilder, right? And you're like, man, this kid, he's gonna be
he's got
big.
potential, right?
Exactly. So you want to give that kid something that's gonna make him better,
Right.
right? Not necessarily like control his life and
But some sort of advice or maybe um, give him give him a stepping stone of what he should pursue, or is that what
right,
you're getting at?
yeah. But at the same time, like if he plays baseball and he's an all-star shortstop, you can't beat up his coach, because
Right.
he's not getting enough playing time, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's very easy to um, cross a line.
Yeah. And I think that's really big, especially with, again, I think the world we live in and people not understanding that um, the people they hang around too, of course, play a huge role in their lives and like the leadership traits they may pick up or even like holding themselves accountable almost.
I want to shine. You want to shine. Everybody wants to shine. But I don't know. I think I'd rather, if I'm gonna shine, I want to share with you my secret or my story. Um, and I know you feel the same way. I mean, that's why you're doing this,
Right.
you know. Um, right now in boxing, right? So I watch a lot of Ali videos. I watch a lot of Mayweather videos because those guys are arguably the best to do it.
Right.
And so um, I see them working out. And it's like, man, those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they work really hard.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to that where...
So they motivate me.
Right.
They influence me. So whether
in a deeper level than, say, maybe the people you're surrounded by?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
Whether I know it or not, I influence people too.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
all influence people.
In some sort of way, whether it be positive or negative too.
Right. So I don't have kids yet, but I'm going to have kids and I'm going to influence them.
Right.
Just like we were influenced by our parents, our environment.
Environment's a huge one.
So
yeah,
it doesn't stop.
Right. And now what are a couple different things that maybe Ali or the movies, Rocky or whatnot, how have they pushed you as a like a social aspect to get you to where you're at right now with boxing? What's the motive that it gave you?
I love movies, man. Most people do too.
Right.
There's a lot of psychology in movies. I know a guy that tattooed Bob and Richie from La Bamba.
Okay.
On his forearm. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I get a lot of inspiration, a lot of messages, a lot of lessons from movies. So
right, movies and videos, and I think nowadays too, a lot of social media. People pull up maybe even like YouTube and look up, motivating things that way. You know, I think more so it comes down to even generations.
You are what you eat.
Right.
You are what you think.
Absolutely.
You are what you feed your mind. If you feed your body chocolate lava cakes and pizza, that's not going to help you, physically.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think it comes down to mindset too, though. It can change, like the food you bring into your body, the micro and macronutrients can completely change your mood of your day and just everything in general. I think it becomes more of your mental health too, not just physical health.
I think I should have been an actor.
Right.
You know me, so I'm kind of eccentric sometimes. But I try to copy, not that I'm like a follower, but I try to copy whatever like catches my attention.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Like I look at down.
Right.
If I can copy Muhammad Ali or Mayweather, I'm gonna be a very rich man.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. I mean, and it's the same thing for me. Like, it's the people that I choose to listen to that really put an impact in my life and really are inspiring, even to do this podcast, to even start a clothing brand, to start social media marketing, to do these various things that I'm doing, selling Supreme, selling Funko Pops, like trying to make money in so many different aspects. And that's one thing I'm actually going to do is I'm creating a new YouTube series where it's going to be called The Flip Life. And I'm going to show people how to do exactly what I'm doing, because I believe we all should have a chance in life to, make it better. Or if you're in a crazy situation and you want to make your life, more valuable, or you want to be able to bring in some more revenue, that's something you're going to want to, show people.
Right.
So, if you had to bring down to the 3 most important things or most important traits someone should have, what would you say?
It's tough to just dwindle down to 3 things. Mm-hmm. But 3 things that came to my head were like seizing opportunities. Mm-hmm. Another thing was being consistent.
Absolutely.
And the last thing was like finishing what you start. Mm-hmm. So
that's a big one, because I fall short of it myself. Sometimes I guess dip my hands in too many different baskets before I even finish like the first one. I'm like, okay, well, what's the next best thing? And I know that's good sometimes to have that trait or that characteristic of, wanting to do so many different things, but sometimes it becomes bad in a way because of the fact that I'm doing too much, and not really dialing in on that one thing. So I think you're completely right. That's a very good trait to have.
Well, I mean, I my interests are always changing and evolving.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people are like, man, what are you like, can't make up your mind, like, what are you gonna do? And it's
But I think you're still finding yourself.
yeah. So that's just my mind, how it's wired.
Right. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think we're all unique, again, in our own way. And maybe even your whole life, like, you might be always wanting to chase something different, just to have a different surrounding, have a different passion for something else. And
Right.
I think that's powerful. I think there should be more people like that in the world, to be honest with you.
No disrespect to doctors, to janitors, you name it.
Right.
Some people, you touched identity. People giving you identity at a young age, so you grow up with that identity.
Right.
I don't limit myself to just one thing.
I would hate to limit myself to one thing, honestly. Like, I think that becomes a bigger issue than it should be, because even yesterday, like when Nicole and I went and took our marriage certificate in to the Justice of Peace or whatever the place is called, and I'm like looking at people in there, I'm like I get it, that's a job, that's a career, and they're making some money providing for their families. I get it.
You're talking about that.
Well, what I'm trying to say is the people that like work in there, it just seems like they're in a cubicle, like they're just trapped. And again, like I know they're providing for their families, and that can be maybe the only job they could get or whatnot. But I feel like that person has something else inside of them, whether they want to be an artist or an architect or an engineer, or not even just an owner of a cafe. I think there's those people everywhere. And I think they're settling for less. And that's one of the major problems, I think, in society, is that people don't necessarily follow their goals or their dreams, and they just settle. And I think that's what's really killing people inside. And then they get worked up. But again, like I said, it all comes down to personal preference. And some people are very content with that, though. They're content with the 9 to 5. For me, I love being like a freelancer and like an entrepreneur, like where I can pick my own hours. I can pick what I want to do. And everything comes down to, if I don't do it, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. So I love that stress and that power, to do my own thing and create what I'm trying to create in the process. So, again, there's nothing wrong with, say, the job you have or the people you're around, but maybe take a moment to notice what's around you and the people that are around you, and understand that you are basically the exact people you hang around, where I feel like some people like to drag other people down, and it might be the negative environment they're around. So then they bring it upon you, and it's like, we all have a choice in life to become successful in our own very unique way. But again, that shouldn't have to come at a cost of what your parents say, what your friends say. Just be you. And I think that's just as simple as life can be, is enjoy what you're doing, love the process, and become better every single day. And stop looking to other people for, gratification, and just be yourself. Simple. So, do you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, I think you hit it right on the nail. What's that movie, Pursuit of Happiness?
Absolutely.
It's a great movie. It's a good message.
Will Smith's a genius too. He's a genius.
You got to go after what gets you up in the morning,
Absolutely. And I think that sometimes that thing can be so powerful that you even beat the clock. Like this morning, woke up at like 4:15, and I was like, I'm so ready and I'm so enthused to do the podcast. And I was up since then. So this is what I love doing. Like, if you told me like, hey, you got school tomorrow, probably try and sleep in on it a little bit.
Right.
But you tell me I'm going to do a podcast, or you tell me I'm going to go help someone with their business, man, I'm up before anyone, So I love that. And I do appreciate you, Chris, being on this with us. And we look forward to speaking to you again down the road after Cash Fades opens in Casa Grande, Arizona. So Thank you guys again. If you're watching on YouTube, I want to thank you guys. And if you're listening to us on SoundCloud or Spotify and coming soon iTunes, I want to thank you guys so much. Leave a review down below. If you have not, go ahead and subscribe on any of the platforms that you are on. And thank you guys for watching. New episodes are dropping every week. And I love you and thank you again.